crazy how you get amnesia. Like I ain't love you like the prophet loved Khadijah. How Rocky be loving Riri, or how Q love Moesha. If your song is in the key of life, then I just want to feature. It's funny, remember back then all I wanted was to meet you. Hedonic species.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Where are my most beautiful queens in the house? Where are my most beautiful queens in the house?
Hey everybody, it's your girl Jamila. Welcome to the Queen's Address. We have very, very special guest in the studio today. He's an author. He's a poet. He's an MC. We have Vada Azeem in the building today. Thank you.
What's going on? How you
for
doing?
being here. Doing
Thank
good.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. Okay. So I have to start with, that Jay Rawls and
Right.
Mixmaster Ice was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So Jay Rawls said, okay, King Vada is one of my best MCs on my list right now. How does that make you feel? What do you think about that? Shout out to Jay Rawls, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Rawls. When I seen it, let me not lie. I mean, Rawls always says that to me. So, but Rawls is also a really good guy.
Yeah, he is.
So, and everybody loves him, and I'm smart enough to know that when everybody loves you on that type of level, that or at least I feel like, there's a reason why everybody loves you. Mm-hmm. and you make everybody feel special mm-hmm. and good, right? Mm-hmm. So I know that about Rawls. So all these years when Rawls would be like, yo, you my favorite rapper, all of that, I accept it. Mm-hmm. But in the back of my head, I'm always like, Rawls, you probably you didn't tell every rapper that come through here that they're your favorite rapper. But even if it wasn't true, I look up to Rawls so much that it makes me feel really good. But the fact that he said it on your show, mm-hmm. That's different than him saying it to you. That's him saying it to everybody the at viewers, that point.
Yeah.
And so it made me feel good. It made me it definitely warmed my heart. And the fact that he would mention me alongside Wise Intellect.
Yeah, Wise Intelligence. That's crazy bars.
Yeah. Like, so that
bars for days.
The fact that he mentioned both of us in the same sentence too, also coming from somebody like Jay Rawls, then that's
right. The professor.
That's a blessing.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so I want to ask you a little bit. You grew up in Columbus.
Yes.
And so what was it like growing up in Columbus, Ohio in the 90s? What was the scene like,
I mean, Columbus in the 90s was I don't know. I mean, I try to refrain from because everybody talk about their era like it's
the best,
like it's
era
the best
ever, yeah,
or like it's the toughest, or it's like, but the real reality is growing up here. I mean, when crack was doing what it was doing,
right,
was a paradox. It
mm-hmm.
was so the very first neighborhood that I can remember in
mm-hmm.
the 90s, we actually lived not far from here. We lived on Ladder, mm-hmm. Which is right near Oak and Wilson. Mm-hmm. So in this area was, it was tough. It mm-hmm. was I also seen, you like I said, you see what crack did to neighbors, and you know what I mean? Like, I actually, as a kid, I actually saw the decline of my neighbors, my family members, so it was, it was wild. And, gang culture was a big thing here too. That's what
I heard about the
a lot of people
North
don't know.
And like all that kind of stuff.
The Crips out north, and gang culture was real heavy too. here in Columbus in the 90s. I mean, for the people who were around, they can tell you that too. So
yeah. And so when did you start making music?
I started making music. The first song that I ever recorded, I recorded with Rashad.
Okay. Shouts to Rashad.
Yeah. I was a kid, and I think I was still in high school, and Rashad actually had me record a verse over Nicotine's house.
Okay.
And that was the first time I recorded an actual verse, like, and laid a verse down. And Rashad told me that I didn't do it right, and I needed to.
He gonna keep it real.
He said, I like the verse, but you got to come re-record the verse. And
Okay.
I never went to re-record it though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was the first time I recorded, and I can't even remember. I know I was in high school. I might have been like in the 9th grade or something like that.
Oh wow, just a pup.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I don't know. I could be wrong though. I don't know, but I know that that's the first time I actually recorded something. But then, also in high school, I would, dabble and record songs like with me and Ness, me and Ness Words. We were a group. We were in a group, and the name of our group was called the Thoroughbreds. I actually was in a rap group in middle school, but we never actually recorded nothing. So I was rapping. So I always rapped, just because I was such a fan of.
But you got serious about it in
music.
high school.
No.
Like got in the studio?
Nah, I wasn't even serious about it. Even when I recorded at Rashadi, I wasn't serious about music. I wasn't even with Ness, like it was just like, like Ness and them, they wanted to be rappers.
Okay.
Like I just could rap, you know what I'm saying? And every now and again, I would go record, but I wasn't focused on rap. I was focused. I was a wild kid. So
You were out there running wild?
Yeah. May Allah be pleased with him and show him
sir.
favor.
Yes, sir. And so just wanted to ask too, do you think that you get the credit that you deserve as a visual artist?
I think that again, that's tough. Like we talked about earlier, like it's tough for me to say. I don't like saying what people should give me,
Well, how about, could you talk about your journey with visual artistry?
Yeah, so I mean, just like with visual arts, just like with music, like I always drew and I always was creative in that type of way. You know what I mean? Like, I was poor, so I used to, my family, they couldn't buy me sketchbooks and stuff, so I would like, I know, like in textbooks, I know they don't got textbooks in school no more. I guess they do everything on the tablet or whatever. Yeah. But we used to actually have textbooks for the young people who don't know. In our textbooks, I used to like rip the first couple pages out because it was like blank white pages.
Oh, okay.
In the front of in the back of the textbooks,
right,
it was just white pages.
Right, like bonus pages.
Yeah. So I would rip those out of my textbooks and draw on those.
Oh, wow.
And just like make my own like textbook. I mean, make my own sketchbook or whatever. So I was doing that at a super young age. So I always drew and always was creative, but just like with music, like it was never something where I was like, I'm gonna do this for a living, like type stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
It's just something you'd like to do.
Yeah, it was something I would do to just kind of escape things. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the question, like, do I think I get enough credit? I now in my later age, I'm starting to realize that sometimes you have to be proud of yourself, even through people that, even through the people that you've influenced. So even if I don't get it directly, it still makes me feel good when I've influenced said person or said persons, and they've gotten accolades based off of being inspired by me.
Right.
And so I've been learning how to accept those things from afar,
Absolutely.
you know, or indirectly as well. Even if, you know, even if some people won't publicly say it, even if they say it to me, you know, behind closed doors, or say like, yo, thank you for inspiring me or whatever. I've gotten better at just accepting that. And so I think I do get credit. It may not be public, but I get it. So
yeah.
And I'm okay. I'm good with that.
You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
You cool with
yeah,
that?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
That's cool.
And I can say that, I mean, the same thing can be said for like for music and rhyming too. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So
yeah, it pushes the culture forward. Could you speak a little bit about some of your recent collaborations?
Recent collaborations. Well, so it's funny because I actually just had a conversation with a brother of mine who is a big deal in the music industry, but and I think you guys know, but so I've been told to hold off for a little bit.
Okay.
So I told y'all it's no red flags.
Not at all.
And I feel bad because
not at all.
But I did tell him, I said, fam, you know, people know already.
Right.
So I did.
But once it goes public, you can't pull it back. Yeah, so I feel you,
and which I did. I actually, if you follow me on Instagram, I actually did. So it might even be way more people. Oh, I know there's way more people because people, you know, started DMing me like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you know, you know. If you already know, then you know. But
so we can
and you
expect
guys
some stuff coming
know.
down the line.
Yeah, you can, inshallah.
24, 25.
Inshallah, because people think I'm elusive. They don't get more elusive than him. So
got you.
Yeah, so inshallah.
So it's something coming. We can say it's something coming.
Inshallah. Hopefully. But you know, I plan on collaborating with a lot of people this year. Me and Jay Swiffer, you know, my brother Jay Swiffer is supposed to be working on some things. I want to, you know, me and my brother John Rogers, we started, you know, he sent me some stuff that I plan on getting done, and I you know, inshallah, I want to put out a project with him. Who else? Stally, you know, you know, I want to do a lot of music, you know, this year in 2024. So, and that's the goal. And I'm in that mode of rapping and stuff like that. So, you know, a lot of collaborations musically.
Definitely. I wanted to ask you because it's a lot of your songs have these really great melodies and stuff. And do you have a singer you would like, a dream collab with a singer that you ever thought about to cross your mind? Like, you know what, I would love to get with Erykah Badu.
I love singing,
or like Jill Scott or Summer Walker or.
Yeah, I love singing, all of them that you named. Like, I don't like. I'm such a fan of singing and like and voices that like all of them. Like,
really,
I would. But I like the newer young kids too. Like I like Four Bats. Like his stuff is insane.
Yeah,
and he only put out 3 records, but those 3 records are super dope. It's just the way that he's approaching it. But yeah, I love singers. I love man, we'd be here all day. Like if I could just
do you have a dream collab with like anybody like that you like, past or present? Like I spoke to my brother Issa Ali in Yellow Springs, and he was like, my dream collab would be Sade. I was like, yo, you really took it there. Because that's a whoo, you know, that's a nuclear missile of a drop.
Probably I want to do a song with Sananda Maitreya.
Okay, so I'm not sure who that is. Sananda?
Yeah.
I have to research it.
Sananda Maitreya. He changed his name. He used to go by man, I've been calling him Senanda for so long that, but his known records, he went by another name. I forget his name, but he changed his name. But he has a song, Wishing Well. You ever heard Wishing Well?
I might have.
He had that was a big record of his.
See, when I hear Wishing Well, I think of Terrence Trent D'Arby.
That's
he did a remake?
He changed his name.
Yo.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he changed his name. Senanda Maitreya, yeah.
Shout out to Senanda
I believe
Maitreya.
so. I believe that's what his name was.
Really?
Terrence Trent D'Arby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Push it back? Okay. Wow, sorry if I got a little excited. Wow.
I think that's his original name.
Okay.
He changed his name to Senanda Maitreya. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. And
would
he's
be a
one
good
of my
collab.
favorite artists
Yeah.
of all time.
Right.
Yeah. And he's still doing music.
See, that's
He's
cool.
still putting out music.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Pardon me, I ain't mean to get that reaction, man. You see
Yeah.
me jump on my
Yeah.
skin?
Like, what?
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That brother is
Yeah. He had my favorite, probably my favorite song of ever. And this is a big thing, but dang, what is it called? It's called Holding On to You or something like that. It's my favorite song ever, and I don't even know the title of it. But that lets you know how my brain
No,
works.
I'm like that too.
And I listen to it 10 times a day.
Yeah. I'm
But,
like that too. Like one of my favorite songs is 21 Mistakes by the Stuyvesants. And I forget the name of the song at least once or twice a month. But it's one, like, you ever listen to a song and like the hairs on your arm stand up?
Yeah.
And you're doing your chores and you got to stop because you're like, doo.
Yeah.
That's how it gets when I hear
Yeah.
a melody that's superior. And it's the same thing with Brandon Williams. It's the same thing with, Salam Remy. Shout out to Salam Remy.
Yes, yeah.
Just anytime I hear a melody or just like vocals that'll like pull me out of my hookup and I have to like sit up straight and like let whatever frequency I'm feeling, like I have to let it happen.
Yeah.
I understand the
Yeah,
feeling,
yeah.
the sentiment.
The song is called Holding On to You.
Holding On to You.
by Senanda Maitreya.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that would be a collab. You go in the studio.
That would
come out with some,
I want to work with him.
Yeah.
And I might try to do anything in my power to even make that happen, because before I used to be like, I don't know if it might be far-fetched, but I probably, if I work hard enough, I probably could make that happen. But
we're gonna manifest that.
yeah. That brother is Terrence Trent D'Arby.
Wow. Formerly known as
Terrence Trent D'Arby. That brother, his voice and
talented.
his writing ability, like just his pen is next level.
Yeah.
It's next level.
I'd love to see that happen. And so how does your beliefs filter into your music and your writing?
Like as far as like Islam.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it plays a big role. It plays a big role. I mean, just because, Allah plays a role in everything, anyway, or anything good, all my mistakes are my own. But, everything good is from Allah. So anything good about my music, all praise is due to Allah.
Wow.
But it does. I definitely try to be conscious. I always try to be conscious of what I'm saying and what I'm putting out into the world. Even the hardships and the, even if I'm talking about the trenches and stuff like that, I always try to implement hope into it.
Right.
If I'm speaking about, my missteps, it's always about, it's always a part of the scheme, or a part of the final say. So I am very intentional about that, or I try to be.
Absolutely. And so there was a group that you were part of called the Fly Union. And so it came into the forefront when a video surfaced of LeBron playing your music. And so it was circulating all over the internet. And I just had to ask you, what was that experience like for you?
So I think,
Were you caught off guard? Did you go, oh, yo?
Nah,
You know,
so-
or were you just kind of like, oh, this is cool?
so I think, so the funny part is so I think when Brian posted that video, I think on Instagram or whatever, right? It was from a song called "Really Got It,"
Okay.
and that was a beat that my brother Swift made, but that wasn't a Fly Union situation.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
Nah. So I was in Fly Union very beginning, like up into the point where so we signed a deal, a publishing deal with LeBron. And I was a part of that signing.
Oh, okay.
And I forget what year that was, but it might have been like 2009 or something like that. I forget the year. But soon after we signed that deal, I parted ways with Fly Union. So it was 4 of us initially in the group, and but after signing, I parted ways like right after that and went solo. And the other 3 members, they continued to stay Fly Union, and you know, they continued to work on behalf of, like, you know, I believe Spring Hill and all of that. And then later on down the line, you know, I think that relationship with LeBron was still there. So Brian posted a video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But I was already long gone. I didn't have
okay.
nothing. I didn't have anything to do with that moment specifically. But I know it was, you know, he posted I know, you know, he was doing the like dun dun dun. Yeah. So Swift did that beat.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was
so.
dope.
But I had nothing to do with that.
Oh,
with
okay.
that particularly. But it was cool. Just I looking back on it at my age, like, it was cool being around Brian, and you know, being around just
Creative
people like
energy,
Chris Paul, and
yeah.
like just being in that type of atmosphere, being in LA, and you know, just, you know, being a part of it. I mean, it was cool, but it was a lot of cool things about it, but it, you know, it was also like, for me, the type of person I am, like, I also just don't get, you know, wide-eyed
right.
about specific things. So,
Right.
you know, my decision to, like, you know, part ways was that was more important to me than the opportunity.
Right.
Than, you know, you should say.
Right.
Or I would say.
What led to the parting of ways with the group?
I think I mean, it was a lot of factors. It was a lot of factors. It was a lot of like just like personal stuff going on, but and people who know it, like, who know the backstory and stuff. The misconception is a lot of people think that it was just solely the personal you know, issues, but that wasn't the main thing that made me make the decision that, okay, maybe I should go this way. To be honest, the main thing that made me make the decision to go a different way was just the creative, differences. Yeah.
Right.
Like, you know, that they said, you know, when we were working on music, they said, this is the type of music that we need to work on, and which is cool. Like, I'm not down in that, but that just wasn't my vision and at the moment. And so, you know, we just had some creative differences, and that ultimately, you know, led me to kind of just bang out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do. You know, and it's never any hard feelings. It's just like,
No.
I
love, I love, like I said, I love, you know, I love them brothers, and like I said, I'm working on music with Swift. You know what I'm saying? I talk to you know what I mean? So yeah, it's, you know, I'm very grateful and thankful for those experiences.
Absolutely.
Like, so, yeah, I thank Allah that I experienced
Absolutely.
those things. So
yeah, definitely. And so just recently, just being on the gram, TikTok, Facebook, all that stuff, the good brother D1, music.
right.
We see clips of him kind of criticizing just some of the main characters, top hip hop superstars like Rick Ross, like Jim Jones. What do you think about D1 and his approach, and what's going on when we turn on our Instagram and see him criticizing the state of hip hop and trying to hold rappers accountable for the messages they're putting in the music?
Yeah. Shout out D1. That's my brother. I think, first of all, I mean, D1 is a genuine brother. And, I was hearing narratives, talking about how, like, he might be doing it for clout, and, people basically, trying to say that, he's not even doing what he's asking other people to do.
Oh.
And my personal experience, knowing his work is, and knowing him is, that's not true. Like,
Okay.
he's in the communities, he's in the schools, he's doing programming, he's doing a lot of things to that benefit our youth and our culture and in our community. So I want to say that me personally, coming from, if my word means anything to you, then I'm saying that to everybody, that I know that to be a true thing about him, and that he is genuine.
Right.
But in terms of the delivery, I do have critiques on how he could have delivered it. I do think the delivery could have been a little more sharpened, and but at the same time, I don't think that he meant any disrespect by it.
Right.
But it could have been a little more, a little more. He could have delivered it a little better.
Okay.
But then again, I mean, if I'm just being honest, like, those conversations, you have those conversations behind closed doors, they go a lot differently.
That's
like,
right.
you might, critique a brother behind closed doors, and in your face, they'll say, oh yeah, you right, this and that, I'm gonna do this, and then the next album drop, and it's still regular timing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think I can say on the other side that doing it on social media and publicly like that, kind of, it forces
a conversation to happen.
Forces a conversation. So,
right.
So I don't think I'm anybody to critique D1 on his approach. I mean, he's a man,
right?
And as a man, if he felt that he can handle doing it that way and going about it that way,
right,
then he's a man, like,
right. And it got a conversation going. I mean, you're gonna face backlash regardless, and you're gonna be praised from people who feel the same sentiment toward what's going on in mainstream hip hop right now.
Yeah.
And at some point, there has to be, like, to your point, there has to be a conversation about what's happening in our communities, what's happening to our young women, what's happening to our young men, the drug use, and younger. Like, I'm from a generation where we made fun of crackheads. Now you have high schoolers using fentanyl and putting Xanax in their weed, and I'm just like, no, we So at some point, when I hear people on these hip hop podcasts and stuff, and they're having conversation about music being weaponized, Do you agree with that at some level, or do you believe that it's just kind of up to the parents to guide them toward real hip hop?
Yeah, I mean, the music industry has weaponized the worst versions of ourselves for a long time now. Like it isn't anything new. It's something that's always been going on. You can go. You have stories of like, Rakim not, Rakim is Rakim. That's the
Right.
God.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
The ultimate.
Yeah. So, but just think, like, there was a ceiling to Rakim. Just think about that. Like, there was a ceiling to Rakim. Then that's back then. And that ceiling came about when, executives and people realize, like, oh, this ain't just here and gone tomorrow. This is actually something that we can make this into a real something, money maker. Like, and once they decided that, we can't have Rakim. Nah, we gotta, because the negative and the violence and the stuff, those things entice people more. So it's been going on, you know what I mean? And they've been allowing or they've been making sure that our voices who are not preaching that only reach a certain plateau. And that's just the music industry, like, and to be honest with you, whoever's being criticized or whatever new artists are being criticized, like, man, a lot of them, they don't got no control. They don't got control over their own.
That's the real part of it.
Yeah, like, so we can critique
all we want.
So whereas a lot of people, like my brother D1, might look at artists like, why aren't y'all doing this? I look at it from a different lens, because I done been inside it. I'm still inside it a little bit. Like, I done been in the rooms where I see, like, they don't even have no choice, or they do have a choice.
Okay,
they do have a choice, but that choice is, okay, well, we're gonna take this from you. Okay. Now you don't get this look. You don't get to be on this night show. You don't get to be, so they do have a choice. You always have a choice. But also at the same time is, once you get used to a certain lifestyle, and a certain lifestyle is given to you, they can take it away from you. And this ain't even on no conspiracy type stuff. This is just the real deal. This is just facts. This is just real life stuff. Like, and it's one of the reasons why I've never signed no contracts that's been offered to me, or that's been, and I always tell people, and that's not to even say that I would never sign a contract, or I wouldn't have signed a contract. Okay. But the contracts that have been put in front of me just they didn't make sense. Right. They didn't make sense. And I didn't feel comfortable. Right. Yeah. But yeah, so we can critique artists for not saying things, or, switching
not saying what they want to say,
or switching it up or whatever. Right. But a lot of them just, they not even in control of their own career. Wow. You know what I mean? Like,
wow. That's heavy.
Yeah. So
I think I remember Too Short saying something similar to what you're saying now. He said, I would have songs that I would take to my management or A&R and be like, I want to put this out. This happened to somebody I know, or I want to rap about. They're like, no, we're going to keep it about having fun in the nightclub or whatever we've been doing that's been making money. Yeah, yeah. And it was just more party and BS type stuff. And I remember, I can't remember if it was Rap City or MTV Raps or whatever, but I remember Too Short saying, like, I want to rap about other things, but I'm always stopped by the music industry as a whole. And I just remember feeling like, as an artist, that has to be hard to have a ceiling over your creativity like that. Because I would feel angry if I had something to say and they're like, nah, we don't need any of that. We did get Brenda Had a Baby by Tupac and Dear Mama, but you saw I Get Around, and you saw Shoot 'Em Up and Hail Mary, and but Tupac was another one who had there's probably a whole bunch of undiscovered notebooks from that brother alone right. of what he actually wanted to talk about. I mean, his mom was a Panther, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, I can't imagine, all the things he would have liked to put out versus what they decided to release to the party scene and the nightclub scene in the 90s. It was just a crazy time to be alive. But no, I'm glad you shared that because a lot of people don't understand how the industry works.
Right. I
You
mean,
know?
yeah, I mean, I hate to say it. Look, the people running this show don't look like us. And
Industry rule number 4080.
Yeah, they don't look like us.
Right.
And that's just I don't know. That's just what it is. Like, and I think this is where I'm going to slip into like where I might surprise people. Like, like we can try to pinpoint when quote unquote hip hop died all we want. Like you know, but when you listen,
Okay.
like.
Come on.
One of
now.
my favorite MCs of all time, Cool G Rap. All right, like it's there, like it's all there because you also have to understand that this is also our real life. So we are just reporting what's going on in the world. So for me, I think we have to grow. We do have a responsibility to grow, and I think content should change accordingly. Like even just as a man, like you know what I mean. Like I shouldn't, but this is the thing about our genre that I think we get hung up on that. But I think it's starting to change a little bit because you know I get a little irritated when I see artists or rappers my age talking about the same things that Yachty or some of the younger artists are talking about.
Come on now.
I'm not mad at the younger artists for speaking about, you know what I mean, they're young. You know what I'm saying? Like so.
And then hip hop's a rebellion on a lot of levels.
100%.
Like it's been in every generation that the party and the club and the
So and, you know, other genres speak about it too. Like
Right.
But the problem the where our genre kind of has to, where we actually have to critique ourselves is that as we're growing up, like why is your content the same?
Right.
Because it should change. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it should change as you grow as a man.
Okay.
As a man, it should change. So yeah,
Because growth is happening.
if growth, or it should be.
It should be.
It should be. And
should
what you're
be.
putting out into the world shows your growth as a man. And but see, but then that's when capitalism and materialism and all that stuff comes into it, because you'll have brothers walking around here saying that they're a man or believing they are a man because they can pay their bills or because they're paying for everybody or they're taking care of their families and they're, you know, so they're checking all these boxes that men, right, or that we say men are supposed to check, right? If you're a man, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that. So they checking all of those boxes, right? So they can walk around and say, "Nah, I'm a man."
Right.
And it relieves them of the other responsibilities of what a man is supposed to be. And a man is supposed to show and display growth. And but they're not checking that box. But that's not a box they feel like they got to check. That's not on the paper that society gives us, that what men are supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Or at least, you know, what, you know, mainstream, you know, Western society, you know, like, so when you take said artists that D1 is critiquing, in their mind, they like fam, and you know, they rebutted to that. Like, fam, you can't tell me what I'm doing is wrong. I'm doing A, B, C, and D. So in their mind, they're like, so you don't even have
justified.
You don't even have no right to even critique me. Right. Because I'm taking care of people.
Right. With this music that I'm putting out.
Exactly. So I'm my people good. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a man. Like so and I think that's where we have to, you know, and that'd be my critique with artists, and I'm not critiquing them, or I'm not like knocking them, but it just ain't for me. Right. If you 40 plus years old, I mean, if you 30 plus years old,
come on now,
talking about, you know,
no, come on, yeah,
talking about things that, you know, like I said, you know, the Concrete Boys, Yachty and his crew is talking about. And I mess with Yachty and all of those young artists.
Right,
like, you know, I want to see them grow.
Right.
I want to see them grow up.
Right.
That's the cool thing about music. Like, let's see them grow up.
This is a start. Let's watch it.
Yeah, let's see them grow up.
Right.
Like, you know, we saw Pac grow up. Like, we saw artists grow up. Like, we saw
Jay-Z evolve.
We saw Jay grow up. We saw RZA.
We saw Nas evolve.
Like, you know, I want to see him grow up.
Be alive.
But if you 30 plus and you talking about what? And you talking about sliding and all of that.
Come on now.
What 18-year-olds is talking about then.
It's not cool.
I mean, no, this just ain't. It just ain't for me. Like, it's not for me. And you can't be upset when an adult critiques what you're talking about as an adult. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know. That's my take on it.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah, no doubt.
And, you know, we don't like being told that we don't like being critiqued.
Right.
You know,
as humans.
Like, I don't mind it. I love critique. Like, if our fellow artist or somebody like, hey man, like, you know, what do you mean by this? Or, you know, like, why you still it's happened to me, you know, like, and I went back to the drawing board, like, you know what, maybe that was right. Maybe I do need to let this go. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think that's dope.
I was a little long-winded.
No, you good. No, I want you to expound on, you know, we doing the knowledge right now, you know. But I had a music question for you. So we see Beyonce getting criticized right now for stepping in the country a little bit.
I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know she was being criticized.
Well, they going in the comment section, and you know, a lot of people from the country music genre, they are not okay. I mean, they are not okay, brother. They are having a fit. Not. But here's the deal. I was having a conversation the other day with a friend, and she was like, I think that, you know, music is music, right? If you have it in you, you should just do whatever. I said, here's the thing. Here's my thing. Eminem from Detroit, hip hop, embrace him because he's dope. Yellow Wolf gets embraced. Kid Rock gets embraced in hip hop. The Beastie, I'll even go as far as back and say the Beastie Boys. When Paul Revere comes on in the club,
that's not,
people put their drink down and go to the dance floor. So I'm like, for me, when I see artists that aren't from the hip hop community do hip hop and they become really dope at it, we seem to be cool. But Beyonce makes a country album and everybody lose their minds. We got to talk about this real quick because I'm just kind of like, why the issue?
I haven't seen it. There must be white people losing their mind because I haven't seen that. I haven't seen. And if they are, that's.
I just want to know why.
They lose their mind.
Like, can't y'all ever be okay with like, and that? But I also see like
first of all, I hate to sound. I hate to, first of all, that's we started that. First of all,
because and I was just about to say,
one,
there was a term called cattlemen and cowboys. Now we'll be here all day talking about the language that was used to describe a cowboy versus a cattle man.
Yeah.
Because there were certain, and then with country music was started by poor people who couldn't afford instruments. They were using buckets. They were using, my dad was a musician. He said the banjo, some people didn't even have a banjo, but they would take leather from a cow. And make instruments because they couldn't afford a violin or a viola or a piano. And so they would take these found objects and create instruments, and they called it country because they were in the country picking cotton.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's so much literature. I mean, there's so much literature, there's so much like rigorous study that people can do in terms of that. Like, so to keep it short, like, first of all, that woman is from Texas.
First of all,
that's
out the gate. First of all, right.
Number one. Number two. Like who cares? But also on the other end of that, like Beyonce did it. First of all, she did it to be petty, and I feel it because she did it to be petty.
Go on.
and I'm all for
Come
it.
on,
I'm with
King
it.
Vada.
Yeah, she
Okay.
needed to be petty,
Okay.
and I'm
She do what she want.
and I'm behind it. I'm behind the pettiness because they've been acting petty about, you know, whatever, and it's all surrounding the award. It's all surrounding like not being recognized for certain things and things like that. But I also feel like we need to stop caring about that type of stuff. Like, you know, I mess with Hove, but even the speech at the like I don't care about
Validation.
I don't care about the Grammys, man. Why? When are we gonna stop caring about the Grammys? Like, you know, and Beyonce or whoever, they shouldn't care because all this whole system is goofy. So create things, put it out into the world. People love you, and create those things. And she made that album, like I said, to be petty, but also because she can, because she knew that if she wandered over there to where they was at, she would break records because she'd been doing it her whole career. So, and she just really did it to just tap their hands like, hey,
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Don't make me wander over there where you at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I'll dominate this too.
Y'all trying to wander over here to sell records and stuff. Let me wander on over there to where you at.
Right.
So I can break all your records.
And then we see people who never listen to country listening to country now.
Yeah, but it's all still, for me, it's still all, but it's all like, we got to stop caring about that type of stuff. We got to stop caring about them. Like, we trying to be validated for art forms that we created.
Come on now.
And, you know, but it's all, I don't know, it all goes into the machine, the capitalism and machine and all that we all got to participate in. Like, everybody has to participate in it because that's the world that we living in. But, you know, the bottom line is, the thing that makes me sad is that I feel like Beyonce really hurts her feelings. You know what I mean? Like, I think it hurts her feelings that people aren't, that specific people aren't recognizing, or they are recognizing but not publicly, like we talked earlier.
Exactly.
Giving praise.
Yeah.
And I think it hurts her feelings, and it makes me sad that it hurts her feelings, and I wish that it didn't, because it shouldn't. It shouldn't hurt her feelings.
Can you share any info at all about the new album?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not first of all, it's not. I wouldn't classify it as an album. Okay, that's okay. Number one. Number two is like, so I produced a backdrop for it. Like, so I produced this. This is the first time I actually, you know, produced a project. Okay, and it's not long. So it's basically, it's called The Difficulty of Crossing the Field, and it's based off of a short story by an author and screenwriter named Ambrose Bierce, and who, you know, he's like, I was very influenced by his work, just, you know, growing up and reading things. So he wrote a short story called The Difficulty of Crossing the Field. So it's named after that. But the project, it consists of rhymes that I started, but they, you know, because I struggle with things being perfect, I never really finished them. I never made full songs out of them. So they've just been in my head. And so as a way to kind of try to heal my wanting to be perfect, which doesn't exist, I decided that I'm gonna make a project out of these unfinished songs, and I'm not going to finish them. Okay. I'm not going to finish them.
But let them stand as they are.
Put them out however far along I got. I'm going to put them out how they are, and I just, you know, produce some music around it. So it's not really an album. Okay. And people probably won't get a traditional album from me.
But I think that's dope.
Ever
I think that's what the
again.
game is missing,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, because We Forgot God Was Watching also is, I mean, it's 11 tracks, but it's only like 22 minutes long. So it's not a, you know what I mean? It's just a whole bunch of music just put together. So it's the same thing with this project. It's 11 tracks, but not really. Like,
But see,
you know what
I'm
I
thinking
mean?
that's what the game is missing. Because I love hip hop. I'm a hip hop head. So
Yeah.
when I hear albums like 444 or even with like King's Disease and stuff like that, and like I love when I hear the voice just trails off. Sort of like we were talking off camera a little bit about the RZA.
Yeah.
And how he does his songs. Are you doing any of the beats on this project?
Yeah, I did all the beats.
You did all of them?
Yeah.
All of them. Wow. What was
Yeah.
that like? Was it overwhelming?
Nerve-wracking, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, nerve-wracking. I'm still a baby, and and that's the thing. I don't even know if you can even call them beats. Like, most of them don't even have percussion. Like, it's just loops. You know what I mean? Like,
That's dope.
yeah. So I have fun making it, and I like it a lot. And it's not, it's dirty. It's super dirty.
Gully.
Like,
Love
and,
it.
Like, I'm talking about, like, it's static. And it's not clean or clear or anything.
It's a
like
vibe,
that.
though.
And it's definitely something that's gonna come out, and people are gonna be like, I don't even know, like, what is this? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm cool with that.
Right,
Like, I'm cool with
right.
that. I'll get, if you want the hard drums and clean, crisp sound, and you look forward to the album me and Swift put out. Like,
Okay.
'cause that, you know what I mean? Because it's Swift. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? His gritty is a little more digestible.
Oh, got you.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
So
Do you think it's more authentic that is gritty, that is staticky, that is undefined?
yeah, it's a. I mean, and not that I know everybody talking about 3 Stacks, but I've seen an interview where he was saying, like,
the flute album.
the flute album is like, it's him actually. It's not. He was saying he's not a good. It's not
Like a
it's
flute
not
player?
good flute playing. Like,
He's just playing notes.
he's saying he's in the beginning stages of it. Like, so, and he was saying that it's beautiful to see and hear him actually learning to play the flute. This is an album where he's still really learning to play the flute. Whereas down the line, he might put out a flute album after he's been practicing so long and be able to compare it. So I look at this album like that too, as far as like the production is.
The
you know,
genesis
I'm still learning
and the
how to make.
evolution.
I'm still learning how to make beats. Like, I don't even have it all the way down. Like, I'm not quantizing nothing. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just feeling. It's
Yeah.
all feeling. So I hope
Right.
people can feel
Feel.
the intent behind it versus focus on. Because now we got a lot of music coming out that, and music is subjective, but it's a lot of music that I don't mess with, that is not my vibe, but it sounds amazing. It's crisp, it's clear, it's mastered perfectly. Everything's cutting through. The drums and the snare and everything is crisp, and it's very pleasing sonically, to your,
It's a frequency.
to your ear. It's just really
Yeah.
pleasing because it's mixed and mastered so good.
Wow.
Like, people's voices are cutting through perfect and immaculate, but I don't like the music. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I know what you mean. No, I know exactly
I
what you
can't
mean.
feel it,
Yeah.
but it sounds beautiful.
Right.
But
Right.
so I was like, I don't care about it sounding beautiful. I want you to feel it. I want you to feel everything. So that's kind of the point behind the difficulty of crossing the field. And that's why I took that title too. It's like, it's where I want to be as a producer, where I want to be in terms of how I set this up. I want to eventually get there, but it's difficult. I got to cross a field. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to get there. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. I feel what you're saying. I was watching The Wiz the other day with my son. There's a part of the film where Diana Ross is singing through tears. And at the end.
Yeah. I know.
And she's like, and I've learned that inside my heart. Her voice cracks.
Yeah.
And she's off key sometimes, but you see the tears coming down, and you feel Diana Ross when she's saying, I think of home. I think of a place where there's love overflowing. And every time I watch that movie with my son, that part, it hits me, like you said, in the feels.
Yeah.
And even though, like you said, there's flaws in it, and her voice is cracking and things like that, and you're just like, it's not perfect, but I feel it, and that's what makes it perfect. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you feel what I'm saying?
No, 100%.
That's I know exactly.
And they probably
what you're talking about.
Yeah, and they probably either made her. They probably did that several times, and another one was probably cleaner. And they probably decided, no, we're gonna go with that one.
That's the take. Yeah.
Or they were like, that's the one. Or they didn't do no more takes.
right.
They said, nah, that's it.
It could have been.
And people were probably like, well, her voice was cracking, and she need to do that. Somebody made the decision, like, nah, that's the one. That's the one that's going.
Yes, because it was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfectly imperfect.
Yep.
And so we're approaching our time, I know. And so I was going to ask, where can the audience go to find your music?
I'm on the stream. I mean, right now, the only thing that's out.
He smiles.
Yeah, all the other music, I don't know, they out of luck, but.
Okay.
I mean, I got a project, We Forgot God Was Watching. That's everywhere. That's everywhere you stream music.
Okay.
And I put out a single. I put out an R&B-ish type single called In God's Favor, where I'm singing a little bit, and that's on all streaming platforms too.
All streaming.
Yeah, so We Forgot God Was Watching. The project is on all streaming platforms, and In God's Favor single is out there.
It's out there
on all the platforms.
Oh, cool. And can we talk a little bit? I know we're approaching, but can we talk a little bit about your author journey before we close? Because you have like a lot going on. And I had the chance, I don't know if the viewers knows, I had the chance to see you at the Black Tie Gala. And could you just talk a little bit about your author journey and everything?
Yeah. So I wrote 2 children's books, and that was just like, those were just things that I wanted to do, that I've always wanted to do. I've been, super open with like my journey as far as literacy, and I was in the, I was reading on a 3rd, 4th grade level, and when I was 11th grade in high school, what I mean? So, but being a creative and drawing and stuff, I always loved children's books. I always loved the pictures, what I mean? I think, just reading books like, Where the Wild Things Are, Marie Sendek and Tommy Unger books and those things, like, all of my favorite children's book authors were like white men. And at some point I just wanted to give myself the opportunity to maybe be a kid's favorite children's book author or illustrator, as being a black man, and just kind of cutting into those disparities as far as authors of color and illustrators of color. So it's just something that I've always wanted to do, and it's just something that I promised myself I would do. I'm not really focusing on that right now, but I'm sure that I'll probably try to write and put out more in the future. But but that was it. It was just something that I said I was going to do, and I did it.
Wow, that's awesome. And just one last question. If you could go back and talk to King Vada Azeem, maybe 20 years back, what would you tell him? What would you say to him, that little young cat starting out?
Oh man, 20 years ago? 20 years ago, I would tell him, don't worry so much about what other people think, I had a life where for a long time I just wasn't who I was. I wasn't who I genuinely was. And And a lot goes into play with that. Like, you know, society tell you, you know, you can only do this, and this is what you can be, or certain things that you can achieve. And I would just tell them that's not true. You know what I mean? And I found that out eventually, you know, but it was a hard road to find that out. There's a lot of lying to myself, a lot of lying to other people, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I would say. That just who you really are, just
It's
be
enough.
just be that.
Exactly.
You know? Like, yeah. So
Exactly. Cool. King Vada Azeem. Thank you so much for joining the Queen's Address today. Anytime, King. Hope to have you back here soon. Okay. And thank you for tuning in to the Queen's Address. Peace, King. Peace, Queen.